Hey, DeRacers, we get a lot of questions asked about crate strategy. People that are accumulating a lot of sugar that have not yet really started buying crates. They may not just be in equipment races yet, so they're just stockpiling, and there's a large amount of confusion of what should I be buying. So you have all seen this. If you've opened a crate, you know, and you're familiar with this lottery system as these tiles go round and round and they pick their crate. What we have done is a very tedious, painstaking research where recorded those clips of all different types of crates and then slowed it down and went frame by frame to count every single tile that shows up so that we can get a sense of what are the probability odds. Since that's not anything that's shared or posted, we just figured someone needs to do it, so why not us?
Yeah, and we're gonna break down what you find in each of those crates, the percentage odds that you'll get a certain item in terms of its rarity or type, but not necessarily its level. That's something that we can't know at this point. However, what we do know, and what we'll start to show you here in a moment, is that with those rotations, right, the carousel of potential prizes, there's approximately 250 to 255 tiles that are seen. So as Vamp mentioned, he was literally clicking through each tile one at a time to go 250 times X number of videos that we had recorded.
And just
some of that
scribbles and scribbles of every single one I've done.
Yeah, I was going to say some of it's in a notepad and some of it's on a computer, but we were able to drop that all into a database, and we're going to start taking a look at some of the numbers that we saw.
And as a full disclosure, again, there's a small sample size. Every single one of these crates took a really long time, and it was difficult to keep track to make sure not to slip up. So there was only a few. So we don't know how accurate this is, but we figured if the visual representation is fair, we figured whatever. Let's share it with you guys so you can get a sense of what we're looking at.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some extremes that we'll be able to point out. Where the percentages make sense to do something. There's obvious decisions to be made. There is a chance, and we've seen this with some of the variance between one spin and another spin, of somewhere between 5 to 10% on some of these percentages. So just know that going in when you're looking at this, that there is going to be some ups and downs. Your odds won't be exactly this, but it will be something pretty close.
Yeah, we did do a couple of the uncommons too to get a sense of it. It was fairly repeatable, but there definitely was a standard deviation on each of those. So if you would like to contribute to this study, feel welcome to record and count them and update us. But just doing the handful that we did took almost a whole day, so it's slow work.
Yeah.
But let's dive right away into the common chest. So a common chest, a common key. If you were to open this, it's around that 79% chance that you're going to get a common item, approximately a 20% chance that you're going to get an uncommon item, and a sub 1% chance you're going to get a rare. No chance of epic, no chance of legendary.
Yeah, and those crates do cost 150 sugar to open up. So you're running a 4 out of 5 chance, basically, that you're going to open up a common item.
Now, with the uncommon, same kind of distribution, you'll notice that the common drops down to around 64%, uncommon 23.5%, a little bit under 12 for rare, 1% chance now of an epic, 0% chance of legendary. So you start to see it shift and give you the better chance of a higher quality product.
That's right.
And same thing with rares. As you can see, the numbers themselves, you now have introduced legendary into it. 2.4% chance of a legendary, 53% chance still, though, of a common. And then you could see the distribution. The perk to the epic, no more commons are available. The main thing is you get a 3.13% chance of that legendary. So you do see a subtle increase there. But for the most part, uncommon is still dominating at almost a 64% chance.
Yeah, and then those crates for the epics cost 900 sugar comparative to the 150. So you are paying a premium to just make sure you don't get those common crates. It might be worth it to you. The rares cost 600 sugar to open up, and they still have a 53% chance of getting a common item. So that difference between the 600 and 900 may be a key element here.
Yep. And with the legendary crates, you basically are no longer getting the uncommon and commons. You have a 73% chance of getting a rare, the 22.5% chance approximately of an epic, and then about 4.3% chance that you're going to get a legendary. So still highly likely that you're going to fall in that middle range. Now, something that we would probably, I'm guessing you would agree with me on this, is that even though there's a lot of good now with brackets, pockets to get really good equipment, level probably 78 to 80, especially level 80 items, is and should be your main target. Because if you have a horse and you're planning on getting to level 80 and competing, you're going to want to have 9 items to get all your speed, stamina, and reaction boosts to be as high up as possible. You need level 80 for all of those.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the net gain boosts that you'll be getting from these different items in just a moment.
All right. So now the next thing that we wanted to do was try to figure out, like, based on your stable goals, we took that the cost crate of 150, 250, 600, 900, 1600, and then we divided it by the odds above. So let's say you wanted to get an uncommon product. So if you were to, now as I scroll down, if you were to buy a common crate to get an uncommon product, that means you would take the 150 divided by the 19.9%, and that yields a 754 sugar cost. Now, of course, you're going to get other things throughout this, but if you're just simply going into the mindset of, I want to have all level 80 uncommon product, and I'm going to buy just common chests, just know that each time you buy and you're trying to get an uncommon, that's going to be your price point.
And another way to think of this, in the same way that we said it's a 80 to 20% split, right, on the common versus uncommon, is that you're essentially going to be looking at a 4 times cost to get an uncommon crate, because you're only getting it 20% of the time versus the 80% of the time that you'd get that common. So that's just the inverse way to look at this. And then, of course, that rare item is equivalency of a lot of sugar if you're going to chance it in the common crates.
These color codes, these also represent the item value as you see that little spinner. So the gray color is common, green is uncommon, blue rare, purple epic, and then that gold is legendary. And so what I've highlighted here, these are the cheapest so far, based off the data that we have. These are the cheapest sugar costs of acquiring one of those items. So if you wanted to have a rare stable, you wanted to have all level 80 items, this is pointing out that the cheapest path to an 80 rare stable is to buy nothing but uncommon. So if you were to buy common items, it would be extremely expensive to get your way up to all rare items. And then if you were to buy the rare crates, it looks like it would actually be cheaper. I mean, you have the better odds of getting an epic and legendary, obviously. But if you're in your mindset of, I only generate 2,000 sugar a week, so it's going to be really difficult for me to get to level 80 for all of my horses and get the gear. If you don't generate a tremendous amount of sugar, you might want to find what is the realistic goal for your stable. In this little map, this might help show you the most effective route for your specific stable. If you're generating 40,000 sugar a week, by all means, you can go big and heavy because you're probably going to be able to get there quickly. But if you only have 2 or 3 horses, this is going to be an efficiency game.
Yeah. And I have to admit, this is probably the most intriguing thing that we found in this data for me, is the fact that the rare crate doesn't provide a greater chance of getting a rare item than the uncommon item crate. And if you scroll back up, actually, in column D and E here, and we just take a look at those rare percentages, that is 11.65 to 13.5%, basically. And keep in mind, there is some chance for slippage here, right? There may be 5 to 10% one way or another. So it is theoretically possible that these are roughly the same percentage at the end of the day, and not the difference that we see below. But what is really important to point out is the fact that you have a chance in the rare to get all 5 crate types. And that actually spreads out your odds. And that's why the rares are more rare in the rare crate.
Yep. But man, to get an uncommon with the cost of rare, this is where it sucks. So personally, with my stable, after doing this, I'm now only going to be buying uncommon and rare chests. But when you open up a rare chest and you get a common item, that hurts. It's virtually 10 times or almost 8 times more expensive getting a common item in that rare. So that's a big oof. The uncommons seem to be pretty safe. So as especially if you're targeting rares, it seems to be an efficient way. That'd be my personal strategy.
So for me, it's a little bit different. If you go back up there real quick, it's uncommons to me are the best way to provide maximum value if you're just trying to get the largest quantity of items for your entire stable. You've got half a dozen horses and you need to stock them all with as many items as possible. The uncommons do provide that value. But then for me, I'm actually looking at this, and even though nothing's highlighted in the epic column, to me, the epic provides a really fascinating way to take the next step up. And it's because of the fact that you are not going to get a common item. You can actually eliminate that from your odds. And, you know, the cost of an epic is a little bit more, but not crazy more. It's actually less to get rares there. And it's not crazy more to get a legendary item. So to me, if I was trying to take that next level, I'd probably go epic. But I mean, you can pretty much tell from here, other than the fact that you won't get an uncommon item if you're opening up a legendary crate, it is very expensive to pick up items using legendary crates at a 1,600 sugar cost.
Yeah, and I think it mostly comes down to your stable's ability to acquire sugar. That should determine your strategy here.
Yep.
Originally, I was thinking I'm going to go common all day until I got my level 80 gear, and then I thought I was going to jump straight to legendary. And in doing this, it just made me realize that my sugar acquisition does not align with that strategy, and it makes more sense for me. So again, my strategy is not necessarily your strategy. It's just what happens within your stable.
Yeah. So let's break this down by how much that might cost in actual Dirk conversion, because this is a little bit different, right? You don't have a ton of horses potentially, or you're jumping straight in and you want to, you know, leap ahead.
Yep. So this is taking your Dirk and buying the largest bag of sugar. So 865 sugar for 160 Dirk. This, using the same valuation above of taking what is the cost of getting the cheapest, most efficient. So the common would be 35 Dirk to 139 Dirk to 397 Dirk, all the way up to 4,600 Dirk. Now this here is the cost increase from a common, not just from the one above it. So you could see that to get uncommon, it's about a 4x, whereas rares, it's an 11x, epics, 36x, and then all the way to legendary, it is 133x more expensive than just a common item. Now, the next thing is what is the benefit of these items? Is it worth it to you?
Yep.
So these are items that we have confirmed. They're either in our own gear, our club's gear, or we've seen them on open seas. But the net boost is the stamina plus speed plus focus benefit. So all three of them. We know that some gear have a speed focus or a reaction or a stamina focus. This is just the net boost, the maximum benefit you get. And what we're finding is it seems to be a trend, and that's where I have suspected net boost. Every single version, a common's absolute best net boost is 164. Going to uncommon, 168. The next one up, and these three have been we've been validated. So we see that they are 444, makes us suspect that the highest epic is also going to be up 176, making the highest legendary most likely 180. And then the same thing, the cost difference, the boost increased, if those are correct. This is what you're looking at. So a legendary item theoretically is 10% greater than what a common item would be able to provide.
Yep. And we do know that there's 9 items that have this net boost. Obviously, blankets don't count. But those 9 items have the potential, if you're just comparing the legendary over the common value, of a 10% increase in their base value, right? So we have 9 separate items that could have a net boost gain of 10%. That actually does add up, right? If you're I don't know what the actual percentage is. We'll probably break that down in another video. But the approximate speed versus stamina and focus benefits that you can get, whatever that value is in each item on average, if you multiply that by the potential of 10% on each one, that can be pretty significant. But you are going to be, you know, costing yourself, what was it, 133x to be able to get that. So you have to weigh, how long you want to wait to try to track down a legendary item, whether you want to go to the market and buy one off of OpenSea if they ever pop up. It's a decision that you'll have to make.
Absolutely. All this is for you guys. I hope this is helpful. But if you have a stockpile of sugar and trying to determine what it is, keep in mind these numbers here. These are probably your most efficient route. But we'll find out if you get more data to us, or if we get a chance to keep adding to this, we'll give you guys an update. But hopefully this gives you guys some insight of where you need